So welcome to Past, Present, Future, the Full Circle podcast. On this podcast, we will be speaking to artists, managers, label owners, stylists, really anyone involved within the UK music and rap industry. The aim is to give you a full circle overview on their life, their past, their present, and obviously their future. Okay, so Past, Present, Future, Ep.7. So yeah, it's mental. We only started relatively recently, but already on 7. Obviously now we're dropping every single Monday, so expect a new episode every Monday. So today we have our first radio presenter on. So we got J-Way.
Yes.
It'd be great, as always, bro, if you could just introduce yourself for the people that don't know you, and then we can kind of delve into the structure of your past, obviously what you're doing at the moment, and the future.
Of course, yes. So my name is J-Way, the only way. You can catch me at Tribe Urban Radio every Friday, 6 to 9 p.m. on our Top 30 show. It's one of our flagship shows. I also do content. I'm a music reporter for Black Things UK Instagram page and just general content, really. Just floating about.
Yeah, 100%. Nice one, bro. Yeah, we'll obviously dive into the radio stuff and the Black Things UK later on in the podcast, so we can properly get to grips with that and what you do exactly there. But as always, I do want to start it from the very beginning and kind of understand what happened within your early years that has now shaped what you're doing at the moment and also the future. So I wondered, kind of from your childhood, what would you say the most significant moments were?
Do you know what? It was more like I was always boisterous. Like I was always doing always when my mum had guests, I'd be running down the stairs and like just doing stupid stuff. I don't even know what I'd be doing. My mum could tell you 1,000 stories of what I did. And so I was always outgoing. Like I was all the plays at school and stuff like that. I'd always volunteer myself to do the lead roles. And music was just a part of my life, like without even really knowing it, to be completely honest with you. My dad, he was a musician, so he was in a soca band. He was from the Caribbean. He came over here and he started a soca band, so he was doing his thing. My mum, she loved music, and what I think has kind of shaped me is that there was such a wide range of music played in my household. You know, like when you see people and they're growing up, they might say, oh yeah, reggae every Sunday, or I listen to Magic every time that I wake up in the morning. I was having breakfast. Whereas like for me, it was more just music in general. It might be a bit of soca, it might be Magic, the classics, it might be what's in the charts at the moment, and that kind of shaped me in a sense. Like now, I love music. I literally I love music. One of my favourite artists is Meek Mill, but if you ask me my favourite song, it's To Build a Home by the Cinematic Orchestra. Like it's just
a wide range.
Yeah, man. And I love everything. I love sounds, I love flows, I love melodies, I love lyrics. Like I love it all, to be honest with you. So I'd say, yeah, just being in a household that loved music, and me just being a bit wild growing up, I suppose. Always wanting to talk.
In terms of wild, like, what do you mean by wild, if you were to look into that a bit deeper?
Not necessarily, not wild, like growing up in school and stuff, more like a class clown, wanting to make people laugh, a bit of attitude here and there. Like I wasn't crazy wild, but wild in the sense that I was always like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, all right, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I'll be the one to go and do that. And yeah, that's kind of stayed with me. I mean, as you get older, things change. Everyone kind of grows up, and I feel like you surround yourself with more people that are like-minded like you, and be like, yes, like I'll do that. But even just like little things, like say you and your friends like walk up to a function or a motive, and you kind of, no one really wants to be that first person to walk in the door. Whereas I'm just like, all right, let's just go, man, and I'll strut through. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I wouldn't say wild, but I've
confidence.
Yeah, I carry myself with a bit of confidence, I'd say, and that showed in everything that I've done, from when I first started out being a radio presenter, to when I tried to do music myself. But it took a while as well. It took a while. I mean, I've got this weird like introvert extrovert kind of thing where I'm out there and I'm outgoing, but I'm also quite hesitant to put myself out there.
Yeah,
it's a scary thing. Do you know what I mean? Even just like sitting on camera, like and talking, like even though you're just having a normal conversation, it's if you're not used to it, it's hard to be like, oh my gosh, there's 3 cameras on me right now. What am I looking okay? Do you know what I mean? Like it's and just also like as much as you don't as much as you try not to think about what other people think, it's so hard not to be like, all right, if I put this out, there's going to be people that they're going to rate it and they're not going to rate it, and that means that they rate me or they don't rate me, and it's I've kind of struggled with that balance, but we're getting there. Slowly but surely.
You said so. It took me a while to get to the position that I'm in right now. So, in terms of that initial step, when did you first realise that actually, so music's the industry for me?
Do you know what? It was so I started off, I must have been about 15, 16. I started off rapping, and it was at first there was like this little challenge that was going on, and I just did it as a joke, and I sent it around to my friends, and then a couple of them like, oh, you're kind of hard, you know, like you're all right, like you should maybe try write some stuff down. And I was, you know, obviously like when someone says, yeah, what, me? Nah. And then you grab your notepad and pen and you're there in the corner like writing stuff out. So that was me. And then I started to take it a bit more seriously once I started to write a bit more. And I would always like spray my verses to my friends and stuff like that. And then they were like, oh yeah, you should do it. And I was thinking about doing a black box. I was umming and ahhing about it, and I wasn't working at the time. I was out of a job. I must have been about 17, 18, I must have been 18 at the time. And my friends, like collectively as a group, they all paid for my black box freestyle. So like I'm lucky, I was blessed that I had some real ones around me like that kind of believed in me. How much pressure did you
feel like to deliver?
Oh, a boatload. Because you know what as well, like half of them came with me like to the black box and they'd all heard it. They'd all heard me like so they knew it. Like thank goodness they'd heard the freestyle beforehand. I wouldn't like imagine if like you're in there and they hear it and they're like, what is this guy on? Like we paid this much. Do you know what I mean? But so yeah, that kind of gave me the belief. All right, well, it's nice having self-belief, and I feel like it starts with self-belief. Like it has to. So if you don't believe in yourself, no one's gonna believe in you. But it's also nice to have that support around you, and like having that support. And then when it dropped, oh man, I felt like the man. When it dropped in my area, like I go to Moons on a Friday night and everyone would be saying, J-Dots, that's what I used to call myself back then, J-Dots, not even like on the gas, like, because I knew everyone that was saying it, like, it wasn't like, oh, look at, like, that's him, like, but more just like, I rate you, like, and like, you felt the love. Like, obviously there was a few people that were like, oh, this guy, but whatever. And then from there, I kind of just stopped. Like I was still writing, but I stopped, and it was kind of like, all right, I've done this, but I don't know if I like doing it again, because the first one was all right. Like it's not like it did numbers or anything like that, but it was good, and like the reception I got was good. But yeah, I was just like, I don't know, and so I kind of left it. Yeah, and I kind of just went back to spitting to my friends, if they were like, oh, do a freestyle, I'd be like, all right, okay, and then you do, all right, and like the odd occasion you go to a motive and you'd find out someone was a rapper, and then they'd be like, oh yeah, my friend raps, and you're like, oh, but I don't, like, I don't really, and then yeah, it just got to the point where I was like, I don't really want to rap, I do, but I don't want to do it as a career, but I still love music. And then I just took a break. I just did normal stuff. Like I was just figuring out life. 9 to 5, what 9 to 5 I liked, what I didn't like. Do you know what I mean? Music wasn't really, like, it was in my head and people asked me, are you still writing? And I'd be like, yeah. But it wasn't really the forefront of my ideas.
How did that feel at that point? Because a little bit earlier on you were saying about, like, you're confident when you put yourself out there into a situation, but actually in the build up to putting yourself out there into that situation, there is like anxiety and it's hard to initially put yourself out there. So obviously you've put yourself out there as the musician, you've steered away from it for whatever reason, and then you've gone into 9 to 5 before obviously finding yourself later on. How did you feel kind of at that moment in time? Were you lost or?
I wouldn't say lost, but it was weird because I was still like burning inside because I was looking at other people who you might feel like you're better than and just being like, oh, that could be me, man. Like, why don't I just Why
do you think it wasn't you then?
Because I didn't have the ambition and heart for it, and maybe I worked myself up a little bit too much as well. Like, I liked writing music, rapping melodies and flows, like I said earlier, and so I feel like if I had just focused on the fact I enjoyed it and focused on that enjoyment as opposed to this needs to sound sick so people think I'm sick, then I probably would have stuck at it a bit more, and I feel like that's to do with age as well. You know, when you're younger, you try to please your peers, I think, a lot more. And I'm definitely a people person, and so like in that, I felt like I was a people pleaser to a certain extent.
What kind of effects do you think that can have upon you?
You're just not yourself. You're not yourself. If you try and please everyone in life, there's no way that you'll be able to reach your true capabilities. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a time and a place where you have to, I mean, be
appease others.
Appease others. Like, not be a bit of a brown nose. Like, you know what I mean? But just there's a way to do things. It's the same way I say you can't speak like you're with a man them all the time. You know, like you just can't. Like, especially in the what's the word I'm looking for? In the industry setting, but more like office setting. I know that's not the correct terminology, but you need to be able to articulate yourself and stuff like that. But it came down to like it's not every day. You don't need to try and please everyone every day. You can just do stuff for your enjoyment, and you don't need to get reaction from everyone every day. Like, and I still have to remind myself that all the time. Like, with my music reports, some have better engagement than others. Stuff that I put on Instagram, try and make people laugh and stuff like that. Sometimes it's great. I mean, the other day, I put up a question on Instagram and I got a good few replies, and then I think a few days after I put up another question, kind of like a follow-up question. Not one person replied.
How did that feel?
At first it's like, what is going on? Like, do you know what? You think to yourself, like, why? Like, it's literally, it's so simple. Like, just reply. But then I also look at it like, when I'm scrolling through Instagram, I don't always engage in, like, I might engage in someone's content one day and skip their stories the next. Like, it's just, sometimes it engages with people and it captivates them, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people have the time for it and they don't. Like, but it just comes back to,
it is demoralising though.
It is. It's like, oh, for goodness sake. Especially because, like,
you put so much time and effort into it.
Exactly that. And like, people don't see that side of it. Like, when, you know, they might see a 2-minute or 1-minute TikTok of me talking about the new and up and coming artists this week and tracks coming up. But for me to do that, I've got to research what's out there. All right, so this is out there, this is out there, this is out there, this is out there. I've got to pick what's what's going to be relevant and who's, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then a little background about the artist, XYZ. Make sure you're covering a range of genres whilst also sticking to what you do, because I feel like people that say, oh yeah, I specialize in Afrobeats and and they name like 10 genres. Just like, all right, well, you don't specialize in it. You're more a fan. Like I am a fan of Afrobeats and amapiano. I don't specialize in it. I can name you a few songs, probably the main and obvious songs, but that's about it. Anything else, like, I'm getting my music from a playlist if it comes to amapiano. But if you ask me UK scene, rap, R&B, USA, like just UK scene in general will take it. I'm a specialist. Like I know my stuff. But yeah, I feel like I'm rambling on. But I
mean, I'm interested in terms of like that demoralisation, and like you were saying, you've put so much time into the content, care into it, and what people see is actually just a fragment of what you've put into that.
Yeah.
So how do you overcome that demoralisation in terms of like, how do you come out the other side and actually continue to push content like that?
It's difficult because I mean, it all, like some days I feel like it's the same with everyone. Some days you're good, some days you're bad. So the days that you're feeling good, it's easier to be like, all right, next one, like dust yourself off. Next one you'll get like it wasn't meant to be. But the days where you feel down, you're just thinking, wow, like what is it that I'm doing wrong, and why am I not resonating with the people? And especially when, I mean, there's content all over the place, and you look at other content and it's like, what are they doing that I'm not, and XYZ. But I just think it boils down to it's a constant reminding yourself, like, okay, now might not be my time, but that's not to say that my time won't come. And this post wasn't the one that's going to go viral, but that doesn't mean to say that the next one won't. Like, it's all about timing, and people, I think it's hard to forget that, and it's easy to want success now. Like, people see, because people, they only see you when you're in the limelight, as opposed to when you're grinding. Like, I remember watching this Chunks video, and he said he spent 10 bags on YouTube equipment, and he didn't see that money back for 4 years. So that's like 4 years of grinding and hard work, and like kind of putting out work as consistently as the top dogs were not getting the appreciation. But something's going to click. Like, he probably produced hundreds of videos before that number 307 worked. Do you know what I mean? And there's so many success stories out there, like, whereas I feel like people like to focus on the success stories that happened instantly, or so they seem that they happen instantly. And it's not even in a good and positive way. Like, you look at RD and the way that he's blown up, like, he's good. Like, he's a good rapper. Not to say that he's everyone's cup of tea, but everyone's acting like he can't rap. Of course he can rap. You hear the flows, you hear the melody, you can hear that he's rhyming. Like, we've had some jokers for rappers in this scene, like, do you know what I mean? And just because he's blown, like, everyone's like, oh, I wish I was RD, and oh, he had it easy. But look, just because you've seen it, like, he could have been like I said, like, when I released one track when I was an artist, I was writing, and I was going to studio sessions around London and stuff like that, just trying to find my sound and whatnot, and just having fun with it in the end. But I
think it's a case of that people, to make themselves feel better, they tell themselves that, oh, they just blew up overnight, oh, they just did this, they just did that, to kind of come away from the truth that actually, no, there has been a lot of work that's gone on in the background to get to this position. So yeah, I think it's a trait within a lot of industries, to be honest. People just want to put people in boxes. Oh, he blew up, this, that and the other, he's lucky, this, that and the other. But 99% of the time, that person's done a lot of things behind the scenes to get to the position that they're in right now.
Exactly. And I also think the 1% that have just blown up overnight and everyone, oh, well, you do it. I always think, you go and do it. Like, it's oh yeah, the track's not even that good, but he's got people across the country from different backgrounds and cultures singing his song. Like I'm just focusing on RD, just that comes to mind. But there's so many artists out there, and just because artists and content creators aren't for you doesn't mean that they're not for everyone. So I think you gotta remind yourself that, like, I came across a rock blogger. Rock's not really my forte to say. Like, I'm not even gonna stunt. I don't listen to rock. I don't listen to rock at all. But he's getting views on views and views and views. I don't know this guy. In the rock industry, he seems like the guy, like the blogger. That's where you go. Like, what he says is gospel. So it just goes you to show, like, keep working at it. Find your niche. Don't be afraid to juggle and switch things up.
Quick one. We work with a lot of up-and-coming urban artists across the UK who are seeking press assistance, radio airtime, creative marketing solutions, and really all-round artist development within an industry that is constantly evolving. Which is why when we had the opportunity to partner with the 1994 Collective on this podcast, it made perfect sense. So to any aspiring artists that are seeking commercial success, please do get in contact with the 1994 Collective and let them know we sent you. Yeah, that's facts. And a lot of the advice that you give and a lot of the messages that you just put across, like, it strikes me as someone that's been through, like, a lot to come out the other side and then to portray these messages and put them across so well. So, like, I guess what I'm kind of interested in and what I find so interesting about the past section specifically of this podcast is, like, the struggles specifically that you went through. So, I mean, from your perspective, what would you say, like, your darkest moments have been growing up?
I'd probably say leaving college was difficult. Leaving college was difficult just in the sense that, when back then you think, right, people are going to university, some people are taking up apprenticeships. What do I want to do, kind of thing. And I didn't really know, but I knew that I didn't want to be broke. I wanted money, and so, like, you start looking for the jobs that pay the best. And so I came across quantity surveying. I enrolled into university 1 day a week, and then I was supposed to be doing. I had an apprenticeship 4 days a week down in Essex, northwest London. So it was a bit of a trek. And I was working on site, crunching numbers, learning stuff, going to uni 1 day a week, and I hated it. I hated it. It was honestly like the worst time ever. And I was getting paid like nice money, good money, especially for like an 18-year-old just coming out of college. Yeah, I was getting paid good money. And it was a career path. The company that I was at was massive. And I was the most miserable I'd ever been. Like, I was constant. I'd wake up and just think of it. I'm a smart worker. I was about to say I'm a hard worker. I'm a hard worker with things I'm passionate about, and also things that I want to get, but I haven't quite got yet. Like, but I'm not going to pretend that I was a smart worker. So, like, with quantity surveying, I didn't really know what was going on. Because I had no interest in it, and I think I stopped going to university maybe 3 weeks in. So I stopped going to university 3 weeks in. I kept the apprenticeship for the majority of that year. Got kicked off the university course around December time. And every day, every week, I'd go to work and they'd be like, "What do you learn at university?" And I blag my way out of it. But they had no clue I'd been kicked off this course. And obviously, all caught up with me, and yeah, that was kind of my end of my quantity surveying days.
What was, you say all caught up with you? What do you mean?
As in, they, like, it just all caught up with me. Obviously, you can't be a quantity surveyor if you're not going to university.
What were the implications then?
Before I lost my job and got fired. just kind of left. Just because I didn't want to get fired.
Nah. Okay.
So that happened, and then I was kind of just lounging around for a little while, not doing too much, to be completely honest with you. And that's when the black box came about. I wasn't working. My friends, they niced me. And then I tried out quite a few careers, to be completely honest with you. I tried out, what did I try out? I tried to be a producer in radio, post-production. I was just doing events at Wembley Stadium, just anything to kind of keep me going, to be honest with you. But it was all just...
It's all part of the journey, though, to get to where you are today. And that's something that we can obviously come on to and really interested about, the radio presenting, and then obviously the media side of things.
Yes.
So, I mean, I guess to transition into like the present moment, your radio stuff, I believe the new radio, you put up a post in early December for Tribe Urban, right?
Yes.
So how is it?
Yeah, man, it's wicked. So I was previously at WOW FM. I left there in December. I've got the opportunity to have my own show at Tribe Urban. The studio is amazing. The people there are amazing. Like it's high, like really high tech. So it's a lot to get used to, just in terms of going from no disrespect to my old previous radio station, but going from pirate radio to more of an industry standard setup. So it's a lot. It's a lot of planning. Going from a 2-hour show to a 1-hour show, that extra 1 hour of me talking rubbish, like I got to think about what rubbish I need to talk about. The easy part's the music. Like the music, music is music. Everyone resonates with music. They all love music. But it's good, man. Just thinking of ways to keep fresh and get out there, and just sorting out the mechanics before we hit the ground running and we get started. Good. I'm enjoying it.
No, I love it. And what I was interested in specifically from a radio perspective, I've always wondered, so like, it's kind of similar to hosting a podcast, to be fair, but obviously there are days when you feel great, you go onto radio, you blast out the show, you're buzzing, this, that and the other, but I'm sure there are also days when you feel down, you feel awful, and you have to go and present that and put on like a fake persona of you're really happy and put yourself across on the radio. So I wondered how hard it is when you're having a tough day to then go onto the radio and appear like you're the happiest human being on earth.
Oh, it's difficult. It's hard because you try and find a balance between not being fake with your viewers, because I feel like being genuine and is across the board is the best way to grow, the best way to maintain fans. So I'll trying to keep an upbeat spirit, especially when you've been a bit down in the dumps all day. It's hard, but you can be honest as well. I feel like depending where you want to take it, I feel being honest, it's not a bad thing. You can, you can say to your viewers, today's been a hard one, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a rough one. A lot of things haven't gone wrong, and I just feel like that makes you
transparency.
Yeah, it makes you even so much more relatable, because everyone, like you said, everyone has those days, and whether it's having a long day and then having to jump on air, or having a rough weekend and then having to go into the office and smile in front of a bunch of clients while you're trying to sell something, like it's all the same thing. Like we all manage it in our own ways. Sometimes you might trooper through, and then when it's your break, you just want to be that antisocial person in the corner. Other people, they exercise if they're feeling down or down in the dumps. Me, I suppose, really, I just jump on air and kind of talk and.
And how much better do you feel come the end of
a lot better. Just in general, I feel like So when you're down in, I always think when you're down in the dumps and you're feeling down and you're feeling bad, the worst thing you can do is get in your pajamas, get a tub of ice cream, slap on Drake, and then just do you know what I mean? Eat your sorrows away. I feel like that's the worst. So like, as much as you try not to force yourself, like you know when you're in a bad mood and like something funny happens and you're like, no, I can't laugh at that. I'm still in my bad mood. Like that's
allow yourself.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So like, but like being on air and forcing yourself to be that happy, jolly person. Like, yes, people, what's going on? By the end of it, you're kind of. You are in that vibe. It's like the energy around you is infectious, and if you're giving off that vibe yourself, like eventually by the end of it, it catches up and you're feeling and then you might go off air and kind of be like, all right, back to reality. But I suppose that's how you deal with it.
Yeah, no, that's a good answer, and I actually completely agree. I think like dwelling and sitting back and allowing the bad mood to infect you for a long time is actually bad, and then it becomes harder to get out of that kind of cycle. To stay on the topic of radio, so obviously a lot of our listeners, viewers will be upcoming artists. Yeah. Quickly, how should they best put their music across to radio presenters to get plays?
Oh wow, there's a lot of stuff they could do. First and foremost, radio presenters are human beings, so just sending a link and nothing else is usually not going to get you a reply, regardless of how big or how small they are. If you were trying to sell your product to someone, you wouldn't just send them a picture of the product, would you? Do you know what I mean? And that's what you're essentially doing. You're selling your track, you're selling yourself to the radio presenter. Because what you find is, what I've realised with a lot of radio presenters as well, like, they're not that hard to get hold of. Everyone is looking for new music. Everyone is looking to have that hidden gem that has like 10,000 views on YouTube, and then you want to bring them in before they blow up because you like. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how you build. Do you know what I mean? That's how you build your name. That's how you build your clientele. More people want to come for interviews and stuff, but. Sending an email with just the link to your YouTube is just, it's not very personable.
No,
do you know
quite disrespectful.
It is, yeah. Well. It's it's not very personable, and I think you want to make yourself come across in the correct light, because like I said, and I'll probably stress this so many times, but that's how you build genuine relationships. It's through being yourself and being personal, and that's why I say not everyone's gonna like you, but that's okay. Because as long as you're yourself, the right type of people will. But if you're just from the offset, like not even saying hi, like oh, do you know what I mean? It's not difficult to say hi. I hope you're well. Here's a link to my track. All right, have a listen.
Let's do a scenario then. So I'm an upcoming artist.
Yes.
I want you to play my song on the radio.
Yes.
What is the best message roughly that I can type out to send to you that will make you go, okay, right, I'm gonna give this a listen and stick it on?
Something very simple. Hi there. My name's Billy Bob. I hope you're well. I have this track. It's available on YouTube and Spotify. It'd be great if you could give it a listen. That's it. It's short and sweet. Like again, like the same way nobody wants nothing. There's very few people that want your life story as well. And that's something. That's something that I learned as well. Like when I was trying to get into radio, I was so naive in a lot of the things I did, like the way I messaged people, who I messaged. I was so naive, and I would tell them, I don't have a lot of experience, but I've done this and this, and I'm really passionate about this and this, and I have so many great ideas, like this and this, and it would be great if I could get some advice, like how to do this and this. And by the end of it, you've written out a short novel just to say, hi, could I get a little advice on working in the industry? Do you know what I mean? And I get it. No one wants to just send a message that's like 2 lines lines and then they just go, oh, I've got 1,000 of them, and you want to be personable, but also like
not too much as well.
Yeah, like not
switch off.
Yeah, you do, and that's the same with everyone. That's the same with like with everyone and anyone. Everyone's been in that boring lecture or seminar or course that work sent you on, and they just won't shut up. Like they are just rambling on, and it was great the first 10 minutes, and it was really inspiring, and you were zoned in, and then the last 10 minutes you're doodling on your notepad. Do you know what I mean? So and you've got to think as well. As much as I agree that all artists are unique and all artists have a different sound, and you could be that hidden gem, everyone thinks that, and everyone should think that, because who's to say any different? Who's to say any different? But also, if someone's getting 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 emails a day of music, and all of it's just and before you've even got to the link, you're just seeing words and words and words. It's like, oh my gosh.
So you want it to be polite, succinct, and you want the links to be readily available within a short paragraph, essentially, and that's going to grab your attention, make it easy for you to listen to the track, and then you'll make your decision based on how much you like it.
100%. And I think that's the same with most radio presenters. If you go on most radio presenters' social medias, they've got their emails links in their bio. They want the music. I literally... well, before, just because I'm working out a few kinks, but my bio literally used to say, up and coming artist, send music to ... because I have a segment on my show called The Sound of the Underground, where I show off the top 5 tracks that I've been sent, and they have to be from underground artists. Like I have certain criteria. They can't be. They can't be, you know, just hitting the surface or anything like that. They need to be diamonds in the rough. Yeah. And it's good. And I listen. Like I personally, I'm not sure how it works for everyone else, but I personally listen to all of the emails that I'm sent. Annoyingly, I'm gonna stop though. 2020. Annoyingly, even the ones that are quite rude and they just send the link, just because I like them. I'm up and coming myself, so I want that hidden gem. I want that diamond in the rough, and I want the exclusive like everyone else does.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good segment of this conversation, actually, and something that, like I say, our audience is predominantly going to be upcoming artists. So ultimately, they can take something from that, and hopefully, it'll assist them in getting to where they want to go as well. Yeah. So I appreciate the wisdom, and I know that others will watching and listening as well. So thank you.
No, right. One more thing. One very important one is try and get a clean edit of your tracks. It makes life so much easier, because a lot of radio stations, well, a lot of people in general, if it's not clean and you first 10 seconds you're chinging up this man and XYZ, it's just so like it's time consuming, and it's time that a lot of people don't have. Okay. So just pay that extra 10. Like, you can go on Fiverr and get someone to do clean edits for it's like £10 for free tracks.
Well, what I'll say, I'll interject here and say you could play £10 for free tracks, or 1994 Collective. I believe they've just launched a course, which will teach you how to do the clean edits. Obviously, this content is sponsored by the 1994 Collective, so forget Fiverr, forget them. Go to the 1994 Collective, get that
the course, get the knowledge yourself.
Exactly,
makes sense. It's only right.
Hundreds of tracks.
Exactly that. It's only right. But yeah,
I'm glad you said that though, because that is so important. And you could have what you're saying is you could receive the most amazing track in the world. You're like, this is incredible. I want to put this out there. But you physically can't, because there's no clean version, and the 1994 Collective will enable you to do that.
To do that yourself, and that's perfect, because I've had friends where like they've had tracks, and I've obviously, as a friend, especially when I was on pirate radio, I was able to play their stuff, but they wouldn't have cleans, and I don't have the time to do cleans. It doesn't matter whether you're my friend or not, and if I don't have the time to do cleans, and you wait a month and now your buzz is gone, and I play it anyway, and it's just kind of like, oh, he's still promoting this song that is 2 months old. Like, it's just so much easier. It's just so much easier. Then I can just click, boom, computer, boom, play your video, done.
Good segment. Yeah, nice one for that.
So,
Thank you for bringing that up. So good bit of promo got in there. So shout out 1994. But yeah, so before we go on to the future, your goals, your aspirations and things that you want to accomplish, it'd be great to touch upon the Black Things UK.
Yeah.
What do you do there?
So I'm a music reporter there, and I have a weekly music report, just reporting on all the segments, all of the music that's come out that week, stuff to look out for. And what was my last one that I did? Last year was just a roundup of some of the artists that I thought had a really good, really solid year. So people like Central C, Little Sims, Gets had an amazing year as well. And it's the page itself is it's an amazing platform. It celebrates all things that are happening in the UK to do with the black culture. And yeah, we've got some really exciting stuff coming. Actually, hopefully, fingers crossed. I can't say too much just yet, but yeah, it's a platform. It's a platform that's informative. They have a lot of funny stuff going on. Obviously, they have myself. We have another music reporter called Lily. Nathan, he's our news reporter. He lets you know what's happening on today. He also does sports.
So it's all encompassing.
Oh yeah, I mean, there is the odd. There's posts, obviously, just external posts, and I know that the owner is always down to promote people's businesses and XYZ. So feel free to get in contact. But yeah, it's a solid team that we have, and it's up on the rise. It's up on the rise.
Where can people find it? What's that?
It is Instagram. You can find it at Black Things UK. Yeah, check out my music reports. Scroll down, you'll see my big head there. And
who had the best year out of the three people that you said, in your opinion? So Gets, Little Sims, Central C, you said.
Oh, do you know what? It's difficult because Central C, they were all in their own rights. I feel like,
yeah, I agree actually.
Central C, he just, for a newcomer, he just smashed it. Like he had the whole game on lock all year, and like I always think when an artist comes out with a new sound, not a new sound, but a sound that's their own,
it's distinctive.
Yeah,
isn't it?
You're like how, because you almost feel like you've heard every single flow that there is. He smashed it, and he didn't tour. He dropped an EP and a few tracks and a couple of features on albums here and there, and he's got the game on lock. Like, he's over in America doing No Jumper interviews and stuff like that. It's crazy. Little Sims, she had a massive breakout year. She got a #1. Her album was incredible, and I feel like Little Sims now is more of a household name. So
100%.
In that sense, she's had an amazing year. And I feel like Gets, his year's been amazing just because, like, as a Gets fan, the album he dropped was amazing, absolutely amazing. But I'm more happy that it gave him more recognition.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And I feel like Gets has finally got the recognition that he deserves off the back of that album. And so again, he smashed it. And there was a few others. Obviously, Dave just
goes without saying, doesn't it? Really, yeah.
Dave was Dave, and
Dave was
Dave, and there was loads of others. It's difficult, man. Like, I honestly...
I just thought I'd just ask your thoughts on that as you mentioned those three names, so it's interesting. Okay, so before we go into the future, at this very moment in time, are you happy?
Yeah, I am. I'm really happy. I was talking to my girlfriend about it. I was just saying, last year was a really good year for me in terms of establishing myself, and nothing to do with the industry. I made a little dent in breaking down a door for the industry, but establishing myself more in a sense of who I want to be, the kind of people I want to surround myself with, and just being comfortable in my skin. We were talking earlier about fear of missing out before we were on air, and just saying how, like, I kind of have that over the Christmas period if you're not out. But and I did, but 2021 in general was a year where I I wasn't that fussed about missing motives, to be honest with you. Like I was very content with either my own company or the company that I was with. I didn't need to surround myself with a bunch of people or anything like that. And on a career standpoint, slow moves are being made, so I can't complain. I can't complain, to be honest.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting answer. And one of the things that you said was like, last year on a whole, you were kind of content with missing out on motives and missing out on going out and stuff like that. Yeah. From my perspective, I think that contentment almost stems from having big goals and aspirations, because actually you can say, right, I'll miss out on this now, I don't mind that because I'm working towards this, or I'm aiming for this. Yeah. So with that in mind, what are your goals? And you mentioned about thinking about who I want to be. Who do you want to be? What are your goals moving forward in the future?
Oh, I wanna take the scene over by storm, man. I genuinely just want to create content that everybody sees and the majority likes. You can't ask everyone to like your stuff. And I'm still finding my way around that. Obviously, I love music and I love doing music content, but there's a lot more to my personality than just music.
Taking over the scene. What does that actually mean?
I want you to see my face everywhere. Like I want to have a year where I become the household name, and I become the name that that people know, and for good reasons. I just want to have a mega year in terms of producing solid content and making genuine connections. Emphasis on genuine, just because last year I had my taste of going to industry events. And oh man, they're fun, but they can also be difficult as well if you're not.
In what sense?
It's very cliquey. If you're not already in the clique and you're trying to kind of make your mark and say like, hi, like I'm here, kind of thing. It's very difficult because it's intimidating first and foremost. You might, if you walk into a room and there's 5 people standing there that you know from their content alone, and that you're a fan of theirs, it's kind of intimidating to just kind of be like, hi, I'm J-Way, nice to meet you. I do content that doesn't get as many views as yours, and I do things that not as many people do, but I think that we could be a great network, like a great connection. Like it's difficult because you're almost trying to sell yourself, but you don't want to be fake. Like that's never gonna work. Being fake is never gonna work because you'll get clocked out. You'll be at one motive and be person A, and then you go to the next and you're person Z. And the industry's so small that it's like, well, hold on a second. I thought you were. What
are you like referring to? Because like the story you've just told, it seems as if it's happened in real life. So like you say about you went in, there was 5 people that you know. What's the actual story in real life? What happened?
Nothing really happened. It was just, I suppose it comes back to being being comfortable in your own skin, like what we were talking about, and kind of putting yourself out there. And that's where I was saying I'm an introvert and extrovert at the same time, because I have no problem speaking to someone one-to-one, like off the bat, like even if they're not holding conversation, I'll keep it going.
Yeah.
But I walked into... What was it? It was... I can't remember what motive it was. I walked into Jules. It was Jules's... He was having a listening party for his album. I walked in and... Who was there? It was Harley from Western and... who was he with? I can't remember who he was with, but he was with a few recognisable faces, and you're kind of like, oh, that's Harley from Western. And then I turned around and I was like, right, let me have a drink or two before I think about what I'm going to do. And then you turn around and then there was a few content creators, and
who?
I'm not going to mention names, but content creators, just because I might be working with them one day, who knows, touch wood. But they're just content creators, and they were all, because they all know each other, rightfully so, they were all with each other, and that's how it is. But in terms of getting
so you feel like a bit of an outcast?
Yeah, you do. Not an outcast, because there's a lot of other people there that are in the same boat as you. But there's almost like an inner circle, and
how do you penetrate?
You know it, yeah. You know it as well. Everyone knows it. Everyone in the room knows where the inner circle is. Like you'll be in a, like it's the same with anything. Like you walk into a club, you know where the rich and the lit people are. Like they're over there at the table, spraying £300 bottles that I would be hugging onto for the night if it was me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's about, it's nothing to do with them. It's more to do with me and overthinking things. Like, I want to introduce myself. You don't want to come across as a beg. You don't want to come across as a fan, because you would eventually like to be working with these people one day. And it's more, which I eventually got into it, and I ended up making some good connections. But that first initial
was tough.
Yeah, first initially walking in, and it's like, whoa, I thought I was a character, but that group over there is really loud. And you kind of go into your inner shell a bit. And so I kind of, when I first got there, I grabbed a drink, sat down, and I was kind of
compose yourself.
All right, this is what it is for the night. But again, that's all about adaptability, which definitely. I think you need in this industry anyway. But
you also think that some of those connections, not necessarily at this particular event, but are not genuine, from what you said earlier.
Oh yeah, 100%, of course. In any walks of life, you'll have people that are only there because you're able to give them something. They can benefit from you. Like from what I've seen, again, I'm very new to the scene myself. Like in a sense that I feel like I've only scratched the surface of I know I've only scratched the surface of what is to come. And so, but from what I see, it's just, it's very cliquey, and it's very, I don't know what the right word is, but as they should, like I said, I don't know whether it's me just reading into things because I'm I'm outside looking in, or it's just people, like I said earlier, there's a time and a place to act a certain way, and people are aware of that, but it's hard to build genuine connections with people in this industry. It's very difficult.
Yeah,
I think
a lot of people have said the same thing, which means it probably is an issue. So potentially something that we can kind of look into at a later date. I mean, just before we go into the final kind of 2 questions that we ask everyone.
Yeah.
Is there anything from your future that you would like to touch upon, or anything that we haven't discussed yet that you want to kind of bring out and open up?
Other than, I mean, with my future, I'm going to apply it to anyone else's future. Whether you're an artist, someone that wants to do content, or a presenter, just keep going and have belief in your product, which is yourself, because you don't need everyone to believe in your idea. You only need that one person, and it all kicks off from there. And yeah, look out for me, and don't be afraid to get in contact with me. I'm an open book on social media. J.Way.Official on Instagram. There we go. J.Way.Official on Instagram. Up and coming artists, send your tracks through. Up and coming presenters. Any advice I can give, or if you want to network or anything like that, I'm down for it all, man.
100%. Yeah, nice one for that. I appreciate it. And yeah, for 100% from my perspective, it's been a great episode, and I'm really excited, particularly about the bits for the up and coming artists to take segments of, and will help them with their journey. So I've really enjoyed those segments, especially. So thank you. So yeah, the final 2 questions, as always. So we ask everyone, we're interested. I guess from a discovery perspective, to shed light on unanswered topics, unanswered questions, or even just topics that people want explored further. So what do you think is a topic within the UK industry that is unanswered, or something you would like us to shed light on?
I think a question that I always ask myself and that I've found is that all the leading PR companies all the PR companies that I know and the really good ones, they're all ran by females, and I don't think that's brought to light at all, because PR companies are massive in this industry. They're absolutely huge. Like, if as another tip as well, if you can invest in a PR company, 1994 Collective, the one to be at, to be completely honest with you. If you are, then please do, just because I mean, I'm going to speak for the 1994 Collective because I know Chloe as well, and I can speak on their professionalism. They have so much insight and so many industry links that it's just going to save you a lot of hassle. But yeah, back onto I don't understand why they're not spoken about and praised more. I think that if you weren't in the industry and I asked you the question, who do you think runs PR companies, like the biggest PR companies? A lot of people are going to say men, just because that's the way it is. But
so you would like more exposure given to those successful female entrepreneurs?
Yeah, and I don't understand why it's not as well. As a question, I'm not quite sure why it's not, because I'm not sure if it's because the scene's moving very, very slowly, in terms of, at first it used to be just the artists that got the recognition, and now slowly we're starting to see engineers and producers start to get the recognition for the beats and the melodies and what they do and bring to the track. I don't know if it's going to be the PR companies that deal with the distribution and the marketing and all of the marketing stunts and the PRs and sending radio presenters gifts to keep them sweet, which radio presenters love, by the way. Like, it's massive. Like, it's a massive part of the industry. It's huge. Like, PR companies are responsible for creating press lists for your events and so on and so forth, and yeah, I mean,
so that's,
I'm literally
why a female founder?
Yeah, because I'm literally trying to think of a PR company that isn't run by a female, and off the top of my head, well, the ones that I've networked with, I can't.
No, I agree. Yeah, the three that stick out in my head are all ran by female entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So, yeah. No, that's an interesting point. So we'll bear that in mind and potentially build it into our content strategy later this year. Who knows?
Yes.
So yeah, finally, who do you nominate out of your network? So it could be like a manager, artist, presenter, DJ, etc.
Yes.
Who do you nominate to come on? And you can look into that camera.
That camera. All right, perfect. As soon as you asked me this question, I knew exactly who I was going to do. I nominate London the Plug for the next podcast. So London, if you're listening, we want you here.
Here.
Yeah, that would be a really good one.
Yeah,
she's wicked. She was the first person to bring Cardi B to the UK.
Wow, okay.
She is the tour manager of the Arctic Monkeys.
Wow.
And
that'd be serious.
Yeah, no, she's just got so much knowledge, and she just does everything else. She does parties. She was running a festival in summer as well.
Multi-talented.
Multi-talented woman, and she's a good vibe as well.
Okay, we'll see if we can make it happen.
Yes.
But from us, honestly, thank you so much for your time, bro.
Thank you for
appreciate
having me.
it a lot.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, man, keep it up yourselves. What you're doing is wicked, and a genuine listener, genuine fan. Here's to 2020 being a boss year.
Yeah, let's do it, bro. Nice one.
Thank you, bro.